Bizarre Brain Comics. Hey. Hello there. This is Gary for Bizarre Brain Comics. We would like to talk about comics, the writing, the art, etc., etc. Today, I want to talk with you about this little gem. It is Sgt Fury and his Howling Commandos, number 129 from 1975. But it's actually a reprint from Sgt Fury number 27. Yes, Sgt Fury and his Howling Commandos. Oh. As they fight the Nazis in World War II. Little tea there. Consult the big book of knowledge. Okay. Sgt Fury and his Howling Commandos were created by Jack Kirby and Stan Lee for Marvel Comics in 1963. And it was published until 1981. They were an elite special unit called the First Attack Squad, but known as the Howling Commandos, or the Howlers. And they operated out of a base in England and dispatched to the continent for special missions during World War II. After issue 80, the title featured mini reprints, and then reprints only after 120. After Kirby left the title, because of his many other art chores, penciler Dick Ayers took over the art duties, with various inkers, including the great John Severin. And of course, this is probably written by, or at least scripted by, Stan Lee. And even though it doesn't say, it's probably plotted by Dick Ayers himself. It's hard to say. Okay, and Dick Ayers from 1924 to 2014. And he was one of Jack Kirby's inkers in the Silver Age, largely known for his pencils on Sgt Fury, as well as many Western sagas. He started by writing and drawing an unpublished story for Dell Comics. Later in 1947, he was a student in the first class of Bern Hogarth's Cartoonist and Illustrator School. You might remember me talking about Bern Hogarth when I did that Tarzan graphic novel. He started doing some penciling jobs for the Joe Shuster studio. Remember, Joe Shuster was the co-creator of Superman. And while working on various Western titles in the late 40s, he co-created the character Ghost Rider. No, this isn't the one on the motorcycle. This is the original Ghost Rider of the Western, and which appeared in many titles. After the lapse of the trademark on the Ghost Rider character, Marvel picked up the character in 1967, which was drawn by Dick Ayers. In the 50s, he freelanced for Atlas or Marvel. And he inked many of Kirby's monsters and early superhero books into the Bronze Age. And in the 80s, he drew many promotional comics for such clients as Tandy Computers and various other things like that. Okay. Just about everybody knows Sgt Fury. Let's go have a closer look at him, shall we? Da-da. Here we have Sgt Fury and his Howling Commandos. A nice cover drawn by Dick Ayers. And it says, trapped in Hitler's Reichland, Fury fights alone. At last, the origin of Fury's eye patch. Yeah. Remember, so here he was Sergeant Fury, but in shortly after a year or so after he was introduced as Sergeant Fury, he was also known as Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. with an eye patch. And here we're going to get a glimpse of the origin of that eye patch. But there's a little problem with that. Before the Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. title, he made an appearance in Fantastic Four, or maybe two, I don't know, as a CIA agent without an eye patch. So how does that work? Well, we'll find out. We'll find out here. But let's start just taking a little look at this here. And of course, here's this Sgt Fury's Howling Commandos. This is the reprint of the Essential, and this is volume 1, so it's got like about first dozen or so comics, maybe more. But we can get to see how the first images of Fury and his Commandos here. It was pretty rough looking. There's the cover and this original splash page. Here he's got his buddy Dum Dum Dugan, who carried on into the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. things, and of course has a great dynamic Jack Kirby art. This was inked by Dick Ayers. And here's an example of the covers here, of the covers being done by John Severin. May have been, maybe he only inked, I don't know, can't really tell. But this is, because this interior is Dick Ayers. And this one is Dick Ayers inked by John Severin. I just love his art, his inking. It really, I think, nicely covers up some of the flaws, if you want to call them that, or maybe the characteristics of Dick Ayers' art. And I don't dislike Dick Ayers. Some things I'm not as happy with, but I think he did best with the like the war stuff and and westerns. I wanted to say because this is a really nice close-up face of Fury. I really like that one. Okay, Fury fights alone, and I got a splash page just giving you a hint of what's inside, and it starts off at fast pace with the Howlers dropping behind enemy lines, parachuting out with a specialized bazooka here. Because they're fighting the Nazis. They're after this gizmo, and of course they timed it just right to be with an air raid, because there's this new gizmo that pops up, and it screws up. It screws up the something with the bombers, and they can't complete their runs. They make them either crash or lose control or something. I've forgotten. Now, so here we go. Take this, get in, trying to take that thing out, because that was what it was here. This funny looking light. This funny looking light, and it was doing something that pops up. So there's a really, really nice depiction of the bombers coming in, B-17, and the flak taking some rounds. So they're getting in, sneaking in, got the bazooka and Kafuma, and they took out the gizmo. They took out the gizmo with that bazooka. So now they can make their bomb raids, right? But one of the German soldiers was able to snatch a spud measure. And I've noticed this Ayers does this 6-panel grid like this many times. It's like half page. Like also sometimes it's a good 19 correction, 9-panel grid like this, and it's usually for quick, fast-paced stuff, for quick storytelling, and it works. I think it works real well. Nice hand, nice. But also the equipment and the details all look very nice. It looks, the silhouette of that AK gun looks very authentic. Probably is. Okay, but Fury catches that Spud Smasher and tosses it away, but it goes off before it gets too far. Boom, and that's when he gets an eye injury. Boom. They quickly patch him up. And here we go. Fury's yelling at him. He's always yelling. I like some of the banter, the dialogue these guys got, and often self-deprecating and said, "Oh, with our luck, this, that, and the other thing." Okay, so now they're being pinned down by German soldiers. So Fury tells him to take off. He's going to hold him down, so that his own men can get away, and doing the heroic thing. That's good. That's good. Kablooey. And a lot of ad pages here. See, here's what I was talking about. Fast-paced. You see, quick nine-panel, small panel grid for some quick series of events. Because here's Fury trying to hide, getting away from the Nazi soldiers, and here he is finding a civilian and commandeering his clothes. He knows just enough German to fake him out if he doesn't talk too much. And he's trying to get out of Germany. Well, that's a real nice storytelling in this too. As you can see the Fury figure on the hilltop. Then you see in the mid round here the town, and then the mountains in the background. So it's undoubtedly the Bavarian Alps. Same thing with the little smaller details here, but really nice and downright crowded, but not overcrowded backgrounds here. With Fury in the background, you can see the whole thing. Going to a beer garden, got to get something to eat, some drink, and it just happens to have Goering. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's right, Goering, head of the Luftwaffe, happens to be there. And they kind of, I guess they kind of know one another. Have had come run across each other before. And so Fury's kind of trying to keep his head down. The detail in that Stein. See that? And so he's overhearing what the Germans are talking about. And then they have a toast to Hitler here. And of course Fury can't. He can't do it. And that draws suspicion upon himself. And Fury has to fight his way out. Whap. Because he's a stubborn mule. And here we go with that fast-paced 9-panel grid again. Whap. Just taking out guys right and left, and then Tubbo Goering trying to take out Fury, but no chance. And here he is, Dr. Straub, the guy who invented that gizmo. The guy who invented that gizmo that was taking out the bombers. And he's got his own right-hand man here, and gets a drop on Fury. But he turns because he was sick of this guy just belittling him and treating him like crap all the time. So he said, I'll go with Fury. And they have to get the staff car. It's a nice detail. Nice to look at that. It looks very authentic. Very authentic. He has good action. Real good action. Good panel-to-panel continuity. Good anatomy. He just has a certain characteristic to his figures that sometimes works, sometimes doesn't. I think it works pretty well in here. Personally, I don't think it works as well when he does superhero stuff. So here they're getting away, get to this airfield, and trying to be stopped by this Nazi guy. And then they get in the plane because that German guy can fly. So he's in the Fury's taking the gunner position. Still got that scientist as his prisoner. Now that's a really nice representation of that aircraft. These guys, especially back then, they did so well at doing this, and I think they took a little extra pride in some of this kind of stuff because they lived through it. They lived through this period, even if they weren't even if they weren't like Jack Kirby, who was over there and saw all this stuff firsthand. Now here we go. Some real nice aircraft. As the Germans are trying to stop them, and Fury manages to shoot him down, and they're flying over the channel. And here they are back at base, and Dum Dum Dugan and his boys are in trouble as usual, and they're trying to find out what's the scoop on getting Fury back. And then more ads. Wow, all this noise in the outer office, and the MPs. They step out and what the hell is the MPs? And the MP's trying to stop this guy from interrupting their meeting, which is supposed to be about Fury, and there's Fury himself with the Nazis, with the German soldiers. That's a really nice face right here. Both of them, I think, did a really good job on those. And here, no background at all, but it's not needed because it really leaves room for all of this dialogue, and it really highlights the figures, and you can see the whole arc draws your eye from left to right, telling you what's going on. So here's Fury, and got the prisoners, and then now they're waiting. Fury's got to see the doctor, and yada yada yada. They're all upset and seeing how he's doing, because if he loses his eye, he won't be able to stay with them. And now this is goofy. I know it's to make, and Jack Kirby used to do this a lot too, but that was in later years, like almost entirely get rid of the guy's face to make way for all those dialogue balloons. In my opinion, that's my opinion as a reader as well as an artist. I think he should have just done a smaller face to make room for all that dialogue. Well, here we find out. Well, yeah, Fury will be okay. He'll be out of commission for a short while. Yeah, he'll get a nearly full recovery. He said he could have an operation that will give him his eyesight back forever, but it'll keep him out of commission for a year or more, and he doesn't want that. So, but he said it can come back at any time. He can suddenly lose his eyesight in that eye, which is what happens after his appearance in the Fantastic Four, and between that appearance in Fantastic Four and appearance in his first appearance as Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. And then here we are, teaser next time. And of course, he's already yelling at his howlers. That's all he does is yell. He's bluff, but he loves those guys. And as he is shown here, he will lay down his life for anyone and all of them. And here we go, next issue, Baron Strucker returns. Now, what might sound familiar to you? Baron Strucker. Yes, Baron Strucker is one of the villains against the Avengers and Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. And was it in one of these or another one? Oh, it's in here. I think it's going to have this guy, Zemo, another villain. And if you saw the Captain America, the first Avenger, Zemo was in that, because remember, this is, of course, the different Nick Fury than what is in the movies. And in Captain America, the First Avenger movie, he fought with the Howlers, and there was no Sgt Fury. But they even had Dum Dum Dugan. And I love Dum Dum Dugan. He is cool. So, and they also made an appearance in an episode of Agent Carter in the TV series. So there. But Zemo and Strucker are later Hydra and combat Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., as well as the others. And they're mainstream supervillains and fight the Avengers many times. Okay? Hope you like that. Because I really enjoy that. I like all the war comics. I think they did a good job. They kind of get into some of the goofy stuff, but some of the DC's ones do too. For the most part, they keep it grounded, but then to dovetail them, because they even in here, which I haven't got to yet, somewhere in this one, it's even got Fury with Captain America, so that's cool. Really dovetails. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. If you like war comics or comics in general, if you like Nick Fury, I hope you enjoyed it. Share it with your comic book friends, or just war comic enthusiasts. And thank you for joining me. And remember, comics are art.